It started in the 4th grade. I went to a private Catholic school, and I started going there when I was in the 2nd grade and went until the 8th grade. 2nd and 3rd grade were fun, and I couldn't wait for 4th grade to start. My first day of school of the 4th grade, I was so excited to get back and see my friends again. I walked to school back then. I lived, I think it was maybe 4 blocks away from school, 5 blocks maybe. And so I was walking to school all excited about it being the first day. And when I got to school and I walked into that classroom, I didn't know that that was the day that my whole life was going to change. The kids, the girls mainly, well, there was like 16 kids in my class, and the girls were the ones that singled me out. I'm not really sure what happened, to where the 4th grade, all of a sudden all the girls hated me. They wouldn't let me play with them at recess. They wouldn't let me sit by them at lunchtime. We had those long tables in the cafeteria, and they always kept a chair, an empty chair. Sometimes it was 2 empty chairs between me and them. And a couple of times I remember scooting down to sit in them, and they would scoot down. Like, no, we don't want to sit by you. So then eventually I stopped doing that, because that just hurt too much to have to sit down, try to sit next to them, and they just scoot down. But what I don't understand is why the teacher didn't notice, why the teacher didn't say anything about this at all. I mean, she was right there in front of me. I mean, she wouldn't even sit next to me. She was on the other side of the table, sitting next to the kids on that side. And she saw this was happening. What human being can sit down with a bunch of kids and see a kid being singled out like that and not do anything about it? I don't know, but this teacher did. Actually, all the teachers that I had, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers, did absolutely nothing to help me. And at recess, I'd ask them if I could play, and every day I'd ask them, can I play with you? No, can't. Go, get lost. We don't want you around here. Why don't you go off in some corner and cry? And when you hear that every day at 9 years old, it really starts to hurt. You really start to feel like you just don't want to be there. You don't want to be anywhere. You start to feel worthless, invisible, lonely. What's wrong with me? Why doesn't any of the kids like me? That's what went through my head a lot. Why don't they like me? What am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? And I remember swinging on the swing sets a lot by myself. I mean, they got to the point where they got all the other kids in the school to not play with me. And 9, I wasn't going to go play with, 2nd and 1st graders. So I would just swing and play by myself, and sometimes I was okay with that, but most of the time I wasn't. I wanted to be out there too with all those other kids and play with them and belong and be chosen. Hey, come on over here, play with us, kind of thing. But I never experienced that. And it was really, really, really hurting me. I didn't even want to go to school. There was times when I would cry at home and tell my mom I didn't want to go. I didn't feel good. I had a headache. My belly hurt. Whatever, just to get me to let me stay home, so I didn't have to go to school. But you can't do that forever, right? And so I would go to school, but I wasn't learning anything. I was too much focused on the fact that the kids didn't like me and that nobody would step in to stop it. The things that they would say to me, were cruel. And I had a learning disability, so school was hard for me. And on top of having to deal with kids that didn't want me around, made it even harder to it made me not even want to learn. I mean, what's the point? That's what my thought was. And I would always sit there in class and just, I guess, daydream and go off into la la land about the fact that nobody liked me. So I did poorly in school, besides, having a learning disability and stuff. And I had to leave the classroom to go out to this van. I think it was more like a RV type thing. And the teacher, a lady, was out there, and she would read with me. She'd have me read, practice reading and stuff. And she didn't even question why I was sad. I guess she just figured that's who I was. And the gym class, you had those times when you had to pick teams, always getting picked last. Every year, not just 4th grade. This happened 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Not getting picked, not getting chosen to be on a team, having your gym teacher pick the team she felt you should be on, and hearing, oh, why do we have to have her on our team? Every day and every year up until 8th grade. Can you imagine what that would, how would you feel about that if you went to school every day and the kids there didn't want to have anything to do with you, absolutely nothing to do with you? I had thoughts of ending my life when I was 9. 9 years old. Somebody having thoughts. A little 9-year-old having a thought that they didn't want to live anymore. And even thinking about ways to do it. I'd sit at recess, and the girls, they'd be in that little group walking around, talking or whatever, and if they saw me, they would mock me because I was most of the time I used recess as a way to cry, to let out that release, holding it in through the class period and everything. But then when they would go around and mock me, I decided, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just end things. I'll climb up on top of the school. The school was brick, and there was bricks that stuck out. And I would always imagine myself climbing up those bricks, treating them like a ladder to get to the roof of the school building. And I thought, once I got up there, I would there was a crucifix, a cross, actually, at the point of the roof. And I always thought that I would go to that cross and I would jump off, down, landing on blacktop in front of all of the kids. And I thought, well, then they would see they would see that I was no longer there anymore and that they can be happy. They can be happy that they drove me to that point. And thank God I never actually went through with my thoughts. I just still faced every day, woke up every morning to get ready for school and went to school to face those mean kids. I did later on in life, a couple of them have apologized to me, which really meant a lot to me, that they apologized, to hear that. But I've forgiven those kids. I mean, I knew I had to let go of that anger that I felt for many, many years. And I knew I had to forgive all of them. It was just that time of my life was really, really hard. I mean, not only was I being bullied by kids at school, but I was being molested by my cousins. And I was being singled out by my cousins because I was adopted. And I was always told that I was not blood, and that my uncles felt that it was funny or it was okay to do that to me. Or they kind of said, you should get with her. You should get with Erica. You know, she's not really your cousin. She's not blood, so it wouldn't matter. But it mattered. It mattered to me. And I had no one to go to. I tried. Nobody listened. I was told I deserved it because I hung out with them. But see, I didn't have any friends. I didn't have anybody else to hang out with. And my parents put me in the position to where I was around them. You know, they didn't have to take me with them each time they went to visit these relatives, but they did. They took me with them because they didn't want me going out and having a good time with kids my own age or trying to make friends, you know, and that hurt. It was a difficult time in my life, I can tell you that. And there was one time where I did, you know, stick up for myself with one of the girls. She followed me home from school and she was mocking me, calling me a little baby, and what are you gonna do? Go home and cry to your mommy about how we all picked on you today and stuff like that. And I had a backpack on that was really, really heavy. Had lots of books in it. So I let it fall off my shoulder into my hand, and I swung it around with all my might, and I hit that girl, knocked her on her ass on the sidewalk, and it hurt. She started whimpering, and I said, oh yeah, now who's the baby? It's not me. And I rushed after her because I was angry and I was ready to pounce on her. And I don't know what came over me to even get that feeling, but it came over me and I was ready to unleash it on her. I chased her around this house and I had almost caught her a couple of times. And then her mother saw us because she was sitting in a car that was parked across the way, and she called out to her daughter and told her, stop screwing around and get in the car so we can go home. So she ran across the street, got in the car and took off, went home. Well, that girl never bothered me ever again after that. She still hung out with the group of girls that did bother me, did pick on me, but she never ever said anything at all. And that kind of felt good, but just if I would have had the courage to do that with the other girls, but I didn't. And I just bottled up feelings inside. And when 8th grade came along, they kind of treated me a little bit different than they did all the other years. It was like they tried to include me, but it was more like a sympathy including, like, gosh, I don't know if they really looked at it as, well, gosh, she put up with our crap for all of these years. That's got to take a lot of guts, but I don't really know if that's what went through their head. But I had gotten invited to parties, just little tiny parties that they had at their houses and stuff like that. And I remember, I don't know, honestly, I don't even know why I went. I think I went because I had hopes that they really were wanting to be my friend, that they were really wanting to include me, that they were really interested in knowing who Erica Letcher was. But when I'd go to these parties, I always heard, why did you have to invite her? And I would hear, my mom made me do it. My mom told me I had to invite everybody in the class, and that included her. And I stayed. Why would I stay through that? I don't know. I guess maybe because I felt like I deserved it. Nobody helped me all of those years. Nobody stopped it. Nobody stepped in. Nobody said, Erica, you don't deserve this kind of treatment. We're going to see what we can do to stop it. Nothing. Or not even to talk to me, ask me how I was. I mean, even the 8th grade teacher put me down in front of all of those kids that bullied me all of those years. Not being good at school and having a learning disability and not having confidence, and having low self-esteem, thinking I was worthless, being depressed. A teacher put me down. We used to have those relay races in class where you had to run up to the chalkboard and you had to complete the math problem before the person next to you got it done. Well, I ran up. It was a division thing, and I ran up there, and it was next to a boy that was probably the smartest kid in the class. And not only was he the smartest kid in the class, but I liked him. I had a crush on him, which sucked even more because I thought, oh my God, he's going to think I'm this idiot because I'm up here and nobody even likes me and I have to do this problem and I don't even understand it. I'm sure, if I would have had the right help in school, I probably could have been pretty smart. But the teacher says to me, what, are you stupid or something? Just like that. I'm like, really? I wanted to run out of that classroom and just crawl under a rock and never come out again, ever. I couldn't believe that my teacher did that to me. And I went and I sat down and I wanted to just scream and cry, but I held it inside, and holding it in probably wasn't the best thing either, because later on in life it turned into anger and bitterness and stuff like that. So I went to my 7th grade teacher that was right next door to this classroom, and I told her what this teacher had done. And she told me she was sorry, and she said that if I had any struggles with math class or math or whatever, she'd be more than happy to help help me with this. And she went to the teacher, my teacher, and she told her, well, Erica came to me and told me that you did this to her in class. And so then this teacher came to me and apologized to me and said, if you need any extra help, I'm here for you. Well, you know what? I didn't believe you. I didn't believe that teacher. I mean, why would she even do something like that to begin with? Why didn't she offer assistance instead of calling me stupid in front of my whole entire class? So, yeah. Kids need to feel safe at school. They don't need to be facing all this crap at school and not feeling that they can go and talk to somebody, that feeling like, if I share this with you, are you actually going to stop it? Are you actually going to do something about it? I mean, obviously I had no one at home I could go to. I tried. They just shut it down. And if like uncles heard about it or whatever, they would say, oh, get a backbone, girl, or something like that. Maybe some people can just have things like that roll off their back, but some people can't. And we shouldn't even have to even deal with that kind of stuff. We need support. Kids in school need support. And those kids, think about it. Those kids that bully, I'm sure they're facing things at home that are causing them to lash out and be mean to other little kids. Like, I had a video that I posted on Facebook yesterday about an incident with my kids when they were little, escaping from a dangerous situation. And I got 2 laughs from that. Really? That's funny? You guys feel that it's funny that children have to experience such traumatic stuff in their life? This person, I trusted he was my birth father, and I trusted him. He made it seem like I could trust him. And then he instantly turned on us. But that's funny to you? And I know one of you had children of your own. And I feel sorry for your kids that they have a parent like you. I bet you they're struggling and they don't feel they can come to their parent because they'll get laughed at, or they'll get told, don't let it bother you, or just come on, be tough. And then they just feel like they need to ignore it, that their feelings don't matter. Well, you know what? They do matter. And what happened back then was very traumatic, and it wasn't funny at all. So be nice. We're dealing with a lot of crap right now in the world. People get killed for helping other people. And then you sit here and laugh. So later on, when that person tells their story about how they knew that person that was killed, or even now, they talk about, their feelings about knowing that person. Do you sit there and you laugh about that as well? I'm sorry that your life is just, so awful that you feel everybody else's traumatic experiences are funny. They're not. But, well, that's all I really have to say, I guess. Subscribe to my channel and like my video and learn more about me and learn more about what I went through, and hopefully know that if you are struggling with anything in your life, that I would like to talk to you. You can share your experience with me. I will listen. I will hear you. I will see you. You are not alone.